The sheer extremity of the pro-Fury bias in the boxing media never ceases to amaze me. Every time they interview someone who picks Usyk to win, they recoil in absolute horror and disbelief. You're saying Usyk is better than Tyson Fury? What? Are you sure you don't want to take that back? That is literally their reaction. It's like we're in the Middle Ages and someone just criticized the Pope or something. You hear this big gasp. I can't believe it. It's a heretic. Burn him at the stake. It's absolutely incredible. And they're all at it. All the major boxing interview outlets on YouTube. TalkSport are probably the biggest culprits. So they had Duke McKenzie on the other week, and he picked Usyk to win. Gareth A. Davis literally soiled himself. I've never seen someone look so uncomfortable. And in the most recent incident, George Groves picked Usyk to win as well on Spencer Oliver's podcast. TalkSport then put this clip out with a bunch of embarrassed emojis plastered all over it. He's committed heresy, oh my God. And if that weren't enough, he then gets brought before the Archbishop Simon Jordan and the High Priest Jim White and literally dragged over hot coals to try and make him recant. Jim White was looking at George Groves as if he was a complete imbecile. He literally made out as though this fight is a complete and utter mismatch in Fury's favor, and anyone who thinks otherwise is totally insane. I'm not even exaggerating. Go watch the interview. Simon Jordan then chimes in and basically says that Usyk hasn't got a prayer and that the only way he can win is if Fury becomes totally washed up overnight. I mean, how's that for getting your excuses ready? Discrediting a potential Usyk win before it happens. You do realize that Usyk is 2 years older than Fury, don't you, Simon? Dear, oh dear. This interview was literally like a disciplinary hearing where George Groves was summoned before the board and asked to explain his actions. What on earth was all that about? If someone thinks that Tyson Fury is going to win, that's absolutely fine, as far as I'm concerned. Perfectly reasonable. But it's also perfectly fine and reasonable if someone picks Usyk to win. This is an undisputed heavyweight title fight between two unbeaten elite fighters. It's not a mismatch on paper at all. Yes, Tyson Fury beat Vladimir Klitschko. Or Alexander Usyk was undisputed cruiserweight champion. Yes, Fury beat Deontay Wilder. Or Alexander Usyk beat Anthony Joshua twice. Yes, Usyk has looked vulnerable to the body. Tyson Fury has looked vulnerable to the head. He was dropped by a novice in his last fight and nearly lost. He's been dropped 7 times in his career, and he has a history of cuts. Yes, Fury is bigger and stronger with a longer reach, but Usyk is faster, more coordinated, and has a better defense. So you weigh it all up, and they're very evenly matched on paper. It's not unreasonable at all to pick either of them to win. But for some odd reason, the boxing media think otherwise. And this is in stark contrast to what the public think. According to the betting odds, the public are split right down the middle 50-50. So why is that sentiment not reflected in the boxing media? I think it's at least partly down to the influence of Frank Warren and Spencer Brown, in my opinion. I suspect they're pulling a lot of people up behind the scenes, and sometimes on air, right? And I also think that there's been a long-standing prejudice against smaller fighters who move up to heavyweight and win titles. They're somehow seen as pretenders, and they have to move heaven and earth to prove themselves. Evander Holyfield was disrespected by the boxing media for many, many years when he moved up to heavyweight. He was literally treated like a placeholder champion, a temporary steward of the heavyweight division while we wait for the arrival of the new king. It wasn't until he beat Mike Tyson that he finally got his flowers. And Holyfield was past his best by then, in case you didn't know. People say that Mike Tyson was past his best, but what they conveniently forget to mention is that Holyfield was even more past his best than Tyson was. He was 4 years older, he had way more miles on the clock, he'd taken loads more punishment, both at cruiserweight and heavyweight. He had that brutal first fight with Dwight Carwee, that crazy slugfest with Burt Cooper, the brutal trilogy with Riddick Bowe, got knocked out badly in the 3rd fight, lost to Michael Moorer, had his boxing license revoked due to a heart condition. Holyfield had been through the ringer before he fought Mike Tyson. It was literally like Frodo in Lord of the Rings, bruv. You know, that type of epic saga. Holyfield went through it, had to fight tooth and nail for every ounce of respect he ever got. But big heavyweights are rarely held to that same high standard. Riddick Bowe had shown plenty of vulnerability prior to the first Holyfield fight. He was stopped by Lennox Lewis in the amateurs. He was hurt by a washed-up Tyrell Biggs in the pros. He got a questionable decision over an ancient Tony Tubbs. But one win over Evander Holyfield, and all of that was instantly forgotten. Slate wiped clean, and he was hoisted aloft as the new king. Everyone assumed he would reign for years. But he immediately vacated his WBC title to avoid his mandatory challenger Lennox Lewis, and his first 2 title defenses were an absolute joke. Yet the US boxing media didn't care. They championed him as the new great heavyweight. He got more respect off that one win alone than Holyfield got from all his career wins combined at the time. With Fury and Usyk, it's a similar situation, but in some ways it's actually even worse, because Usyk has a better cruiserweight resume than Holyfield, and he has a better heavyweight resume than Holyfield up until his win over Riddick Bowe. Holyfield never beat any heavyweight as good as Anthony Joshua up until that Bowe win. And years later, when Holyfield was gearing up to fight Lennox Lewis, the boxing media was split. There was no shortage of people picking Holyfield and no shortage of people picking Lennox Lewis. None of the interviewers on Sky or any of the other channels looked at you like you were crazy for picking either man. But with Usyk Fury, if you don't see a Tyson Fury win as a foregone conclusion, you're treated like a heretic. It's absolutely bizarre. And here's the interesting thing. All of the public figures who are picking Usyk to win are actual fighters. All of them. George Groves, Duke McKenzie, Tony Bellew, Anthony Joshua, and Fabio Wardley. However, most of the people who are writing Usyk off are individuals who've never boxed before. Simon Jordan, Jim White, Gareth A. Davis, and all of the guys who run the big boxing interview channels on YouTube. Now, that's not to say that there are no people who actually have boxed that are picking Fury to win, because there absolutely are, plenty of them. But very few of them are writing Usyk off. Most of them see it as 55-45 in Fury's favor. It's only these media guys who see it as a foregone conclusion, or people connected to the Fury camp like Billy Nelson. You got man like Joe Gallagher running around saying that Tyson Fury is criminally underrated. I mean, how perverse is that? When Tyson Fury knocked out Dillian Whyte in 7 rounds, you had people calling him the greatest heavyweight of all time. Whyte had just been knocked out in 5 rounds by a washed-up Povetkin 2 fights earlier. That win had people calling Tyson Fury the greatest heavyweight in history, yet Joe Gallagher says he's criminally underrated. What planet is this guy on? At least 50% of the public think Fury's going to beat Usyk, yet somehow Joe Gallagher sees that as Fury being criminally underrated. I mean, you gotta laugh. Anyway, to sum it all up, the boxing media continues to show blatant Fury bias, and I expect that to intensify even further the closer we get to the fight, as Bricktop and that pound shop Ray Winston start tightening the noose behind the scenes. Give me your thoughts in the comment section below. And before I go, I want to give a shout out to all the new subscribers to my Patreon page. I cover loads of different topics in my weekly podcast, as you can see on screen right now, from current events to deep dives down the rabbit hole and everything in between. I'm really enjoying the feedback and the discussions we've been having on there lately. So if you'd like to join the conversation, just click the link in the description box below. Are you sick and tired of the mainstream mindset? Does the dogmatic conformity and pathological ignorance have you tearing your hair out in frustration? Then don't be alone. Come and join our brotherhood on Patreon. We stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. You'll gain access to my weekly topical podcast, where we take more deep dives than Jacques Cousteau on an endless variety of subjects. There's also videos, interviews, live Q&As, as well as a vast back catalogue of previous episodes, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen via the Patreon app or download in high-quality MP3. Connect with myself and hundreds of other members in our Element chat group. There's no contract, no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a Mickey D's McMuffin. Just head to my Patreon page via the link below this video and select the tier called the Brotherhood of Reason. I'll see you over there.